Of all the Eagles film rooms I've produced over the last few years, this may be the most excited I've ever been about recording one. It's important to understand why, okay? So way before the NFL draft, I made a video ranking my top 20 wide receivers by criteria that the Eagles would look for. On that list, Jalen Reagor ranked 4th, so the draft started off on a tremendous note by my estimations. But then, deep in the depths of the 5th round, the Eagles selected a receiver by the name of Boise State's John Hightower, a man who I had ranked 9th by criteria the Eagles are looking for. So needless to say, my reaction on our NFL draft livestream was through the roof.
Picks now.
Alright, so they go from 164. Okay, interesting.
John Hightower.
The boys! Come on! I've got a draft crush as an Eagle! Go on! John Hightower, you legend!
Yes!
Go on! Oh my god! Yes! Oh!
Go Birds!
Okay.
Ever since that fateful day where I deafened so many of you, I've got a lot of questions. The main one being, why are you so high on John Hightower? Why are you so excited about this 5th round receiver? Well, today is the day I show you exactly why. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Eagles Film Room. Before we dive into the film though, a massive thank you for all of the support so far. I hope you are keeping well and safe at this time. If you do enjoy the content, it will be amazing if you could hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 20,000. We would love for you to be a part of our community. And as always, don't forget you can get your daily dose of Philadelphia sports coverage from myself and all of our writers over at phillysportsnetwork.com. And we truly do appreciate every single one of you who take time out of your busy lives to watch and read what we put out every day. John Hightower was this year's Andy Isabella for me, a player I fell helplessly in love with within one game of tape. He's definitely a sleeper, but he just does everything well, like not exceptionally well, and there are some holes in his game which I think under the right coaching will be exponentially improved. But considering that he is a 5th round pick, he had the 8th fastest 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine, averaged a whopping 18.5 yards per reception, and is coming off of a 943-yard season. Oh, and he stands at 6'2", 173 pounds. So not only is he fast, but he's also got a perfect size to thrive in this offense. But you haven't came here for stats, you've come here for film, and that's what we're going to give you. Here are the things we're going to be looking at in today's session: his route running, his release, his ability to adjust and high point the ball, and more importantly, his speed and his ability to change gears. Let's start with the latter. He's going to run a nice corner out here. He's against off coverage, and what I really like is how smooth this route is. Hightower's going to run up to the DB until he turns his hips, and at that point, just break inside, and look at how smooth that is. There's no jerk motion, there's no sudden 0 to 1,000. It's a smooth acceleration throughout the route. Now, we're not going to see the cleanest vision here or patience from Hightower, but what we do see is a similar trait in that speed. He's able to really accelerate through the gears, and right here, he's looking towards a sideline. He's going to have far more open space to work with, but instead he tries to naturally cut upfield. He ends up being tackled. He gets to that point of contact very quickly due to the acceleration, but it could have been a bigger play. But this one may be my favorite play I've actually seen from Hightower. Essentially, it's a rub concept, and what we're going to see is Hightower at the line of scrimmage, facing press, brush off that contact, push towards the safety, and then fly under him towards the boundary. It's a really nice route, but he does everything well. But let's watch it at normal speed and then slow it back down and have a look at those intricacies, because on the surface, this is just a beautifully crafted touchdown by Boise State with a lot of separation from Hightower. But let's go back and really examine this now. When you zoom in on this route, you can see him do a violent head shake to the outside, and that's going to hold the safety over the middle, because if Hightower's turning for the ball, the safety has to be ready to lock down. Then he transitions all of that weight through his body and just sprints past him at the speed of sound, generating so much separation. That is a really nice route. Talking of sprinting, we know he's the 8th fastest man at the 40, and here's a look at that raw speed on a go route. If you just just want to see what that separation looks like in a straight line, have fun with it because this is just saucy. It's an easy completion to Hightower that goes to the house, but let's slow it down, have a look at it once again. When you zoom in on just Hightower, you get a look at this violent jab step. Look at his knee, his head, his hand, his feet, all aligned to the inside. The corner has to adapt for that. And then Hightower blows past on the other side. It's his coveted move, and we're going to get on the pros and cons of this very shortly. But when it works, it's just like poetry in motion. The corner gets completely turned around. Hightower tracks the ball very well and brings it home for a very easy touchdown against Air Force. Similar sort of thing here at the top of your screen. Nice little jab step, gets to the outside on the opposite area of the field. Same exact look. I really do view John Hightower as sort of a budget Van Jefferson in this year's draft. Because again, when you look at the tape a lot closer, you see these intricacies. Another violent head shake you're going to see here. He's going to run up right on that cornerback and bang! Just flies past him with that head shake. Now, why it wasn't ranked as highly as some of the other receivers, I think are due to things like this. Against higher competition, specifically FSU here, what you see is he tries that jab step again, but the FSU corner gets right into his chest and he's like, hey, you're going to break inside? Have fun doing it with me in your chest. Now, Hightower is physical through the stem. He uses his size well. The ball doesn't go his way. He doesn't get knocked off, and that is a real positive for a wide receiver when you look at the difference in cornerback play that he'll have at the NFL level. But he uses that jab step so much, and occasionally like there, he just oversets it a bit. And that's where it'd be great to have another set of move or another way to gain separation. But having just one step where at a point you can kind of put too much weight on that leg like we see there, making it harder to dig back out of and you sort of end up stuck in the mud, it's easier for a cornerback to get his hands on you. So the talent is there, the potential is there to develop some of those extra moves, some of those little techniques you can have as a wide receiver to get off the line of scrimmage. But again, you see it sort of tried so much with Hightower where it's almost like Sharif Miller with his bull rush, where it's explosive, it's amazing on film, but if it doesn't quite work, there aren't many other ways he gets off the line of scrimmage. But when it does, like this one, he's got a little bit of a window to work with off the line here. He's going to work a slant route, come over the middle. It's very easy to leverage that bigger body. So it's a double-edged sword here, and you kind of live by that and die by it. But if Aaron Moorhead can really work on that hand placement and the ability to false step, then we're working with a real star in the making here. Now, in terms of catching in traffic and tracking the ball and basically not being Nelson Aguilar, John Hightower does a great job. You don't see many mental mistakes come from him, although I would like to see a little bit more aggression at the catch point. He will go up and try and snag it, but I think he likes leaning on his frame a bit too much in boxing out defenders on the ground or using leverage to position himself in front of the ball. Like we see there, he kind of does a little bit of a jump, but he just kind of twists himself inside, and he carries that mentality into contested catches that should be high pointed. So for instance, there's this one against Air Force where he's going to work the space really well, get himself into a position to make this catch, but the jump he makes is just so early where there's not much height to it, there's not much he can do. The ball was terribly underthrown. Had it been thrown a little better, it would have been a touchdown, but you'd like to see Hightower just a little bit higher there, a little bit more aggressive into the air. You get a better view from this angle. The DB does a great job of staying inside the catch radius and getting in the way of that ball, but again, it's not the end of the world. He's not going to be asked in those contested catch situations, especially when you've got two tight ends, JJ Arthega-Whiteside and Alshon Jeffrey, all on the roster right now. In terms of his actual ability to locate the ball and snag it away from receivers, it's up there. Again, that's a coachable thing, and that's why I love this man, because I feel like if you just take a few of those holes, a few of those tiny holes in his game, you can mold a very, very exciting and talented young receiver. Like, this ball is going to fall perfectly into his hands because he understands how to leverage his body to get the DB off him in a tight situation and keep that ball close to his chest. But if he could just leap out and grab it and snag it away, it will be a much safer way of doing it. I don't think NFL DBs will give him that much room to work with. There is the occasional concentration drop like you get with most receivers, like right here, he lands on his shoulder, the ball slips through his hands. Not the best look in the world, but in reality, these are few and far between, and most home run shots, he's going to knock out of the park 9 times out of 10. So it is worth mentioning because I think these are all correlated with that aggression, with the contested catches, but again, it's very workable. It's not exactly a red flag here. So why am I so confident he can improve? Well, look at this play. He's going to sit in this cover 2 turkey hole just between the cornerback and the safety, and he has to go up and get this. He has to go up and snag it out of the air, and he is so physical physical, he doesn't get knocked off by the DB that's charging at him, he brings it home. Which tells me that he is more than capable of applying that more tenacious mindset when in the air or in a tightly contested situation. Now, the final area I want to touch on is that Boise State used him a lot on sweeps and reverses and screens because, well, he's the 8th fastest man at the combine, alright? The guy is lightning quick. We touched on his gears earlier. He is so fast in open space, and if he could just get that Miles Sanders treatment of working his eyes a little bit to understand and see the field a bit better and where to position his body, you're gonna get another home run hitter because he's got the speed, he's got the gearing, he's got the athletic profile to do exactly that. So what you get when you put all of this together is someone that is lethal off the line of scrimmage with one move, someone that can go up and snag a ball out the air but isn't quite there yet, but otherwise is a very secure receiver, someone that is a rapid wide receiver that fits the profile of what the Eagles want, and that leaves you very little reason to be concerned. Every setback in his game is absolutely coachable, and again, it's sort of like if you take a more polished receiver like someone such as Van Jefferson and just give it a bit of tarnish and you have that product. This is what John Hightower is, and I think his ceiling is very, very high at the NFL level. For a 5th round pick with a new wide receiver coach, I am so excited to see what Aaron Moorhead can do with this young man. But what do you think, guys? Are you any more excited about this pick after seeing this video? Let me know down in the comment section below. From myself, Liam Jenkins, we'll see you next time.